Welcome. We are so glad that you're here and appreciate that you are taking the opportunity to learn more about our kindergarten options at Charlotte Prep and our lower school at Charlotte Prep. Our goal today is for you to get a glimpse into the different kindergarten options and understand the difference between the two kindergartens and the similarities, and also get a glimpse into what lower school is like. So during our session today, you're going to hear from SHARON VANELLA. You're all familiar with her. She is so experienced with the elementary education background from Miami University and her early childhood administration and Montessori certification, plus 25 years in early childhood education, and 15 of those being here at Prep. She is thoroughly knowledgeable and experienced when it comes to early childhood education and the Montessori prepared environment in particular for those of you that stay for kindergarten. And then you're also going to meet and get to know Mimi MCKEON, who's SHARON's counterpart in the lower school. Mimi has served the Charlotte Prep community for 9 years, and she has her BA in elementary education with a minor in mathematics and her master's in curriculum and instruction from Boston College. But most importantly, Mimi is MOM, or Mom Certified, to Ansley, Delaney, and Aaron. And Delaney is actually in the lower school kindergarten this school year. So I'm going to toss it on over to SHARON. She's going to start, and then we'll let Mimi talk a little bit, and then we'll see a video.
Well, hi, everybody. Thanks for taking the time to watch this today. We'd, of course, much prefer to be with you in person, but this is the way we'll do it today. And I'd encourage you to please get in touch with me if you have questions. I'd be happy to spend some time on the phone with you or do a video chat with you, or answer email questions anytime. Just want to tell you a little bit about the third year of the 3-year primary cycle. So the children start the first year just exploring the environment, getting to know everything, working on getting, solidifying hands-on concepts. Through the second year, the TK year, those children are really starting to apply the concepts and being able to use the materials in more purposeful ways, and also to start to extend that. So they're starting to get their pencil grip, and they're starting to form letters, and they're starting to understand how to put words together, and maybe even start to read a little bit by the end of TK. Their third year, they are really, really independent. They're leaders in the classroom. They are able to really take what they've learned, not only to apply it, but also to show it to someone else. So we rely on those kindergarten children to be real leaders in the classroom, and it really helps them understand all the concepts that they've been learning. The Montessori materials are designed to stretch and grow with the children as they go through the curriculum. So everything that they've been working on can continue to grow with them. For example, in the math curriculum, they've gone through identifying numeral and quantity, and they put numbers together, and they've been going into the teens and on into the base 10 materials. And now we can start to work with them in operations and exchanges and longer numeral counting all the way up into thousands. And they're able to start to put those things together by following up their activity with a written activity. In language, they've been working on their letter sounds, understanding that the symbol means the same thing as the sound, and how to put those sounds together to form words, how to form sentences, how to move on and start to read those things and understand what they're reading. So in their kindergarten year, the children are reading the words, learning sight words, learning spelling patterns, understanding what they read and being able to tell more about what they read. They're really getting into understanding the world around them. They love to work with the geography, the maps, to work with the natural world, and oftentimes we'll bring in projects and activities based on what they're interested in. Their curriculum continues to grow with them. It's not linear in nature as it might be in the lower school. It's more, we're working on this for a while and then we're going to work on that. Now, in all of that time, the teachers are still continuing to observe and work with the children and steer their path so that they're making sure to cover all the skills and concepts they're going to need when they go into first grade. But they are, interacting throughout their morning with the other age groups. And then in the afternoon, they had a little more concentrated work time with the older children, with just the kindergarten group as well as the TK group. And then sometimes some individual lessons as well. So they continue on that kind of Montessori path there. The kindergartners in a normal year will get together with the lower school kindergartners quite a bit. So we're hoping that as things change back to what we remember as normal, hopefully next fall, that those kindergarten children will be able to interact with each other again, have lunch together, have playtime together, have buddies together, have, you know, maybe music class or drama class together. So those are some of the things that we're looking forward to. In the meantime, our kindergartners this year are still thriving. They're still being leaders in the classroom, and they're still really getting, you know, their hands-on materials, and they're getting prepared so that as they transition to first grade, they're ready to go. You know, I had my own 2 children have come through Charlotte Prep and went on through the lower school. Being here through 8th grade really had an impact on them, especially my older one, who's now sophomore in high school in IB, and she, you know, picked up the study skills and went through the program and really was able to take all she could from prep. So I urge you to consider, you know, whether you go to lower school in kindergarten, whether you go in first grade, look forward to that 8th grade graduation. They'll be ready. They'll be fully prepared for that step. And so I'll let you talk a little more about lower school.
Sure. Thanks, Sharon. You know, as Sharon mentioned, the kindergartners in the Montessori program are prepared for first grade here in the lower school, meaning that they receive instruction in the same skills, concepts, and content as our students here in the lower school, because we're ultimately all preparing them for the same endpoint, which is first grade, or, you know, inevitably our 8th grade graduation here at Prep. That being said, our students in the lower school do take on a more, you know, traditional learning approach. Their day is broken down into different subject blocks that are planned out thoughtfully by each teacher. And then within each of those subject blocks, we use what's called a workshop model of instruction, where students receive a short targeted mini lesson, and that's delivered to the entire class. And it's on a skill or concept that is appropriate for the full range of learners. And so in kindergarten, that mini lesson, you know, at the beginning of the year, after that 10 minutes, the remaining bit of that workshop time, which is called independent work time, because students are independently working on the skills and building conceptual understanding of things that are most relevant to them. However, they do that in many different ways. So they may be working independently to practice a skill, but that could be independent reading, that could be a center activity, all sorts of different options. But kids often work in pairs or partnerships. And so they are collaborating, conversing with one another. They can also be leaders and teachers to one another. And they really like that. And that's a nice carryover from the Montessori foundation that they get. During that workshop time, that independent time as well, the classroom teachers work with students either in small groups, or they do what we call one-on-one conferences. So this is a very busy time in the classroom. You'll see kids all about the classroom doing different things. And it really is a nice bridge from the Montessori program, where students are choosing things around the classroom. The difference here in the lower school is that students have, you know, choice within limits, right? So everybody will be making choices around the literacy concepts that they're working on, or the math skills that the class is working on. But there is a lot of opportunity for choice based on skill and ability, as well as interest. So as they go through the day, it's a nice flow of having, you know, more direct instruction and time to practice, apply, and refine their skill sets. So students cover academic blocks in literacy, in language arts, also in math, and then also have time for science and social studies. Additionally, one of the other differences in our lower school kindergarten program is that students do attend special area classes every single day. And so the students will attend classes such as PE, they'll take Spanish classes. They also attend STEM and technology, as well as fine arts classes in music, drama, and visual arts. And so students attend 1 or 2 of these a day. And so in a normal year, they are transitioning to those different spaces around campus, engaging in those lessons and activities with those teachers, and then they return to their homeroom classroom space for our core subject work. As Sharon mentioned, we really do like to get all kindergartners on campus together under normal circumstances. So our kindergartners do have lunch typically at the same time, and so they're able to eat with their peers, both in the lower school kindergarten as well as the Montessori kindergarten. And then they go out to recess together, which is a really nice time for them to bond and get to know one another. Oftentimes they've been together in the TK program, and so they're kind of reconnecting and continuing to build those friendships and relationships with one another. Additionally, we do have the kids come together for Buddy, which is part of our character education program. But we also do character lessons within the lower school kindergarten classrooms. So the students are becoming more self-aware, building those positive character and leadership traits, and engaging with one another in the way that we want our Charlotte Prep students to do as responsible citizens of our community. So that's kind of our lower school in a nutshell. And then, you know, as Sharon said, this preparation gets them ready for first grade and the skills and foundation that we need them to have to be successful first graders here in the lower school.
And Mimi, you may have mentioned it, but the language that is taught in the lower school, can you just cover that again?
Sure, yeah. As beginning in kindergarten in the lower school, our students engage in Spanish instruction. It's very conversational and done through play and interaction. Students are beginning to develop their Spanish vocabulary, and so they attend Spanish class 2 times every 6 days with our lower school Spanish teacher.
And you mentioned leadership and the Buddy program. Can you talk a little bit about service? Is that something that's emphasized?
Sure. Yeah, a big piece of you know, any school year and any grade level, but particularly in kindergarten, is developing responsible and independent citizens. So in the Buddy program, our kindergarten students are paired with typically a middle school buddy, usually 6th grade, and they get together and they partner monthly around character traits, whether that's respect or integrity. And they typically then tie that to some type of service project, whether that's service for our school community or service towards our greater Charlotte community. The students are invested in that. And you know, what's really nice is our older middle school students are able to be leaders to those younger kindergartner students, but also help the kindergartners feel like leaders as well. They are great at helping those kindergartners kind of lead the efforts, deciding, you know, what they want their project to look like, what next steps they need to take to do that. So it's a really nice relationship that's developed where both students really benefit and develop their leadership skills.
Great. Could you talk a little bit about the aftercare program and then perhaps studios that I think this year we've had to, you know, defer having those, but yeah.
Yeah. So we have 2 different types of after-school opportunities in a typical year. The first are our studios, which you may be familiar with from early school, and these are usually once a week specialized kind of classes or activities that the students would attend for about 45 minutes to an hour after school. So this could include primary choir, chess club, it could be a running club. There's all sorts of different options, and the most popular ones we see year after year and season after season, and others change from one semester to the next. But typically you will be given kind of the menu of choices, and you can pick out one or many for your child to attend each afternoon. And then each semester, you know, fall and spring, those options change. The second after-school opportunity is our after-school care program. And this is a full-time program, meaning this care is offered every afternoon from the end of the academic day until about 6 o'clock. And so students engage in lots of different types of enrichment activities and also just kind of fun play with one another. We know that the students work so hard for us during the day that we want to be able to kind of let them, take that exhale, right? But we also want to keep them engaged and happy and even learning after the academic day is done. And so the after school care program is comprised of, outdoor playtime, snack, read aloud. Our after school care teachers plan wonderful enrichment lessons tied to different activities and crafts that they do together. And then the students are also kind of given some free time to do activities of their choice. They have centers around their classroom spaces or can do some independent work. And then our students, as they get a little bit older, would have time for things like homework.
Yeah. It's a little bit different from how the children are signed up for TK, where the extended day is just part of their contract. So just to know, as if you transition, even whichever kindergarten you choose, you will need to select after school care separately from the kindergarten, which is different than TK. But then in a typical year, we would have all the kindergartners together in after school care as well.
So hopefully people aren't too familiar with how discipline is handled in the early school, but I think it is always a question that is on parents' minds. So I think in early school, you have, Sharon, the procedures. Do those anyway mimic, Mimi, what happens in the lower school? Is it a similar consequence, or how do you handle if a student is really not demonstrating what we would expect of a prep student?
Sure. Yeah. Our lower school really has a very similar, if not the same, philosophy as the early school. We take student choices, as learning opportunities, right? We know that students on their path to, learning and growing and developing into excellent just human beings, that they're going to make mistakes or they're going to make choices that they wish they would have made differently. And so we use those opportunities to teach and help the students learn. In the classroom, we use a lot of redirection. We use self-reflection and ask the kids to reflect on their choices and think of other choices that they could have made or what they could have done differently. And this really does seem to be the most effective way to work with students to develop those positive behavior traits. If a student in particular is really struggling with something, really we want to partner with the student, the teacher, and of course you all as parents to really figure out what's going on with this child, what kind of support do they need from us here at school, what kind of support can you as parents provide, and really work together to get to the bottom of it. And we find that that's really the best approach. That team and partnership approach really helps us figure out what's going on and really support students best.
And Mimi, the dress code for lower school, is that a little bit different for the students that are in this division?
Sure. Our dress code is fairly similar to those that in early school. We ask that our students are in comfortable, neat, clean clothing every single day. We prefer for them to wear tennis shoes or sneakers every day so that they can run and play safely out on the playground. The one big difference, because our students do attend PE and they actually get to attend 2 times per cycle, we do ask that our students wear what we call a PE uniform, which is really any type of Charlotte Prep t-shirt or spirit wear on that day, some comfortable shorts or pants or athletic skirt, and then of course those tennis shoes or sneakers.
Right. And in terms of the start time for kindergarten students in both divisions and the end time, is it the same? Is it different?
It's pretty similar. Early school still gets dropped off at 8 o'clock and they begin their morning work cycle immediately upon entry to the classroom. So as soon as they're dropped off, they walk in and they start their routine for the day, and they have their open-ended cycle throughout the morning. In the afternoon, the length of their school day is extended until 3 o'clock so that it matches up with the dismissal time for the lower school. And that allows them, if they have assemblies or activities in the afternoon that they might be joining together with the lower school students, that might be an opportunity there. And it also is a time for, after the TK students are dismissed, that the kindergarten children have a dedicated time in the classroom with their teacher. Or maybe they get together with other kindergartners in the early school building during that time sometimes. So any siblings that were younger that would need care, we also offer complimentary bridge care for siblings that have older siblings in Montessori kindergarten, lower school. And so they're dismissed at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, our start times, like Sharon said, are pretty similar. So the lower school academic day does start at 8:15. So we ask that all lower school students, including our kindergartners, arrive prior to 8:15 so that they can start their day. We do have a carpool window. And so as students arrive, they unpack and they head into their classroom. And we have what's called just a morning work time. And it looks a little bit different in each classroom. But typically kids have an activity to do that will be a review and just get their brain going for the morning. But this is also a time that our kindergarten teachers love to check in and work one-on-one with kids, look over their nightly reading books, listen to them read, check over sight words, those kinds of things. So just like our Montessori kindergartners, their days get started pretty quickly as soon as they arrive. And they are busy all the way through until 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock to 3:10 is usually that kind of pack up time. And then our carpool begins at 3:10. So our dismissal and our start times are pretty similar.
Thank you. Anything else that we haven't covered, or it feels pretty comprehensive?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I do want to talk a little bit to the parents. You do have a choice to make, particularly if your student is a transitional kindergarten student this coming winter, actually, in January. Well, actually, it'll start January the 25th through February the 8th. You'll have an opportunity to decide if you need to make a change to your enrollment. And there will be links and big messages in the Monday memo. It's a 2-week window, and you can select if you want to change and have your student go to the lower school kindergarten. If you want to stay in the Montessori kindergarten, your child's going to automatically be enrolled in that program. But if you do decide, after listening to the video, reading some of our literature that's attached, that you want to make the move to lower school division, you will need to alert us to that fact. And that time to do that is, you'll see in the Monday memo, it'll be big heading, change to enrollment, and you'll be able to go in and select that you want your child to attend the lower school division. You'll also, and I think Sharon mentioned this earlier, if you're enrolled in extended day for kindergarten, whether it's Montessori kindergarten or the lower school kindergarten, you do need to add on the aftercare program. It's not going to be like an automatic contract thing. So if you've been enrolled in the TK school year program or the TK year-round program, and for kindergarten you're going to need extended day, you're going to have to add that. And the place to do that is at that change to enrollment point. So we encourage you to read through that when it comes out in the Monday memo. But if after viewing this video, if after reading some of the literature that we provide, if you still have questions, we encourage you to reach out to Mimi, reach out to Sharon, reach out to your child's teacher. They have some valuable insight that they can share to help make the best decision for your child and your family. But either way, your child is going to be ready for first grade. And either way, we are just truly delighted to be able to continue this partnership with you. It is a true privilege for us to come alongside you and raise the next generation of bright, thoughtful, and kind leaders. So thank you for being with us, and we'll see you soon.
Hi, my favorite thing about teaching Montessori kindergarten is having the kindergartners be the leaders in the classroom, and they inspire the children to do more challenging work because of the lessons that they are working on. I also enjoy just the small kindergarten groups in the afternoon and following their lead of what to teach them.
What I like most about teaching Montessori kindergarten is that the kindergarten year is the end of a 3-year Montessori cycle where the children learn new things, they solidify their learning, and they teach the younger children. They're role models in the classroom.
My favorite part about teaching first grade is the enthusiasm they bring every single day. They're excited from the moment they walk in to the moment they leave. They ask great questions. They are enthusiastic about what we're learning, and that invigorates us as teachers. I think first grade's the best.
In second grade, we worked closely with the Fine Arts Department to present a musical based on U.S. history. For example, last year our play was about the U.S. Constitution, complete with Alexander Hamilton, George Washington, and John Adams. Our children worked hard to learn their lines and were coached by our drama specialist. Our music specialist worked to turn our play into a musical. All of this was going on while we were learning about the U.S. Constitution in our class. This truly integrated opportunity for our students is one of my favorite parts of second grade.
One of my favorite things about teaching second grade is that you really get to see students grow as readers. This is the year where they begin to analyze their characters, and they use the author's clues to really draw conclusions and form their own opinions.
My favorite thing about teaching third grade is discussing big ideas, especially through books, and then seeing those ideas transfer into the children's writing.
In technology class, my students are extremely eager to learn how to code. While learning coding skills at Charlotte Prep, our robotics unit is one of my very favorite. We get to use our friends Dash and Dottie. We program them to be able to go and take adventures all around Charlotte Prep and do all kinds of really fun things.
In kindergarten, I love to teach locomotor movements and dance. It's so fun to see the joy on the children's faces as they learn to skip, to hop, to gallop, and to perform different types of dances.
Initially, we were looking for a school when my daughter was entering the third grade. And we looked at prep and another school, decided to go with the other school. And by the time she was about to enter middle school, we shifted her over to Charlotte Prep. One of the big reasons why is we realized that the academic rigor was stronger at Charlotte Prep, and it was a really close call when we were making the first decision, so it was easy for us once we had that experience to make the decision to come to Prep and sort of shore up the areas where we saw that she wasn't thriving. Specifically, that was math. So my daughter was always very sort of academically advanced and really strong in the English and reading and writing, more so than in the math, but she really started to struggle in 3rd and 4th grade, and by the time she was entering 5th grade, was starting to lack confidence, which was really worrisome. And so to ask her now what her favorite subjects are as an 8th grader, and for her to say math is like, is this the same kid? So that has just been a complete 180 shift. Her teacher here not only teaches the what about math, but the why and the how, and really engages her creative side in the way that she engages with the subject. And it's just been an incredible turnaround to see her really feel challenged and excited about the challenge of learning math.
I've made some of my happiest memories here, and I know that I'll never forget these. I remember one time when I was in 6th grade, it started raining unexpectedly, as it so often does here in Charlotte. Very few students had umbrellas, and we had to walk up to the cafeteria. But the ones who didn't have umbrellas just puffed underneath whichever umbrella was closest to them, laughing briefly with us about the exciting chaos before moving on. It was clear through all this disarray that we were so much more than just a bunch of students at the same school. I know that even though this is hard to imagine during COVID and everything looks so different, this atmosphere and community is still living on.
This was the first building block to, the next step in life. And for me, it's just always been a blessing, especially with, the friends and the faculty here. Just doesn't matter who you are, your race, gender, religion, any of that. It doesn't matter. I mean, you're always accepted here.
Charlotte Prep for me has just been a place where I can really express myself and be myself and, feel comfortable around everybody and feel like I really have a place among these people. And I've been here since 5th grade, so each year I kind of just get to soak up more of the Charlotte Prep experience. And I'm in 8th grade now, so I'll be graduating this year, but these memories of Charlotte Prep will always stay with me. Like wherever I go, I'll always remember Charlotte Prep and be like, yeah, that was a really great place. So if you want a place where you and your child can feel like part of the community and part of like a family with everybody here, then Charlotte Prep is a great place to be. I love this school.